All right, y'all, we are back again, and today we are back with paraphrasing a poem, okay? So this is going to be after you have identified the structure of a poem, okay? Remember, structure has everything to do with the number of lines, the rhyme scheme, the major units of division, right? The possible location of the volta. Also, the types of rhymes that we see, and then the meter or the rhythm. This is all structural stuff, okay? Which can lead us to meaning. However, what will really help us push ourselves to meaning is when we take this poem or any poem and we paraphrase it. We put the poem into your own words. And I want you to think, this is a poem that was written in the time of Sir Thomas Wyatt's life between 1503 and 1542, okay? And the language of the time, even though it is English, is very different from the language of our time. And so we have to translate this poem into something that we can understand and digest, okay? Think of it as learning a completely new language. If you do not speak Mandarin Chinese, and if somebody is talking to you in Mandarin Chinese, no matter how slow or how fast they talk, if you do not translate what they are saying into something that you can understand, it's going to be very hard to get that message. The same is true of paraphrasing poetry. We need to get this into something that we can understand, okay? Now, the way that we do this, you'll notice that I've already started with some annotations on this poem. The way that we would do this is we would rewrite the poem sentence by sentence. Now, I know that for a lot of students, it is very easy to be tempted to read poetry line by line. I mean, the lines end here, they have a nice little rhyme, and they have a nice little rhythm. And so it's easy to just read this line here and then stop, and then read this line here and then stop, and then do the same for the rest of the poem. However, we read poetry the same way that we read everything else, sentence by sentence. And so you need to look for the punctuation marks that can denote the ends of sentences, okay? And so you notice that I've highlighted in pink punctuation marks that can end sentences, okay? Now, if you are familiar with the rules of writing, you would know that a semicolon can take the place of a period in certain situations, okay? So I'm calling this basically one sentence. Of course, we have a period that ends a sentence. We have a semicolon here that would end that sentence. We have a period, and a period. So when we count that out, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 sentences that we're going to rewrite this poem in, okay? Now, when you rewrite this poem, you may need to do a little bit of defining of certain words. For instance, the word hind. You might not know what a hind is. That's where a dictionary would come into effect, okay? The word whoso is not a word that you probably use in your everyday language, but you might be able to deduce the meaning of that word, okay, by reading this poem. And there's a good chance that if, on the like on the AP exam, if you don't have access to a dictionary, if you paraphrase the remainder of this poem, the meaning of certain words like whoso would reveal themselves to you, because logically there's only a few things that the word whoso can mean when it's combined with the meaning of these other words. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at the first sentence of this poem. I'm going to walk you through my mind process, my thinking process in paraphrasing a poem sentence by sentence, okay? So it says, the first sentence, which I've underlined in blue, it says, whoso lists to hunt, I know where is an hind, but as for me, alas, I may no more, okay? So we're talking about a hunt. So who hunts? So who lists to hunt? I know where is an hind, okay? So whoever wants to hunt. So I'm going to say that whoso probably means whoever, okay? So whoever wants to hunt, comma, I know where is an hind. So I know, and if we think about especially this time period here, what kinds of things are people hunting? Okay, well, people are probably hunting animals that they can eat, and one of the most famous animals that you can eat, that people still hunt today, all over the world, is a deer. And when you define the word hind, you might notice in one of the definitions that a hind is a female deer. So I know where to find a doe. A doe is a female deer. Or you know what? Let's just write female deer. A female deer, okay, comma. But as for me, I understand that, so I don't really need to change that. But as for me, now we have the word alas. And 9 times out of 10, when I talk to students and they see the word alas, they think that the word alas means at last, but it doesn't. Alas is a word that kind of laments something, okay, or feels bad for something. So alas, I can say, but as for me, comma, sadly, okay, I may no more. So I may do what no more? Well, I may hunt no more. So as for me, comma, sadly, comma, I hunt no more, period, okay? Now I put a period here because we have a semicolon, and a semicolon can act as a period, okay? So that's my first sentence. Whoever wants to hunt, I know where to find a female deer, but as for me, sadly, I hunt no more, okay? Now let me go on to this next sentence in red. The vain travail hath wearied me so sore, I am of them the furthest that come behind. So the vain travail, when you do something in vain, okay? When you do something in vain, you do it uselessly, okay? So here I can say the useless, and a travail is going to be a task or something that you do, okay? So the useless task, and in this case, the task is the hunt, okay? Hath wearied me so sore. Well, hath is just an older way of saying has. The useless task has, and then wearied means tired, has made me tired and sore. I mean, just think hurt, right? Tired and hurt, comma. I am of them that furthest come behind. So I am, the speaker is talking about himself, of them, and here, them, who is them? Well, them is whoever is hunting. So of the hunters, right? So of the hunters, comma, I am, and then he says, that furthest come behind. So furthest behind. This means he's in last place. I am the last person who can catch this deer. Okay, of all the hunters, he comes in last. And then we move on to this next sentence. Yet may I by no means my wearied mind draw from the deer, but as she fleeth afore, fainting I follow. Okay, yet we can just say but, right? But may I by no means, I will not let my, and then he's talking about his wearied mind. I will not let my tired mind draw from the deer, go away from this deer. Okay, so forget this deer. I will not let my tired mind forget this deer. Comma, but as she fleeth afore, okay, but as she, and then fleeth, just think of the word flee, F-L-E-E, not the bug that bites you, but flee, like to run away. But as she runs away, fainting I follow, I chase her, falling. The next sentence, I leave off, therefore. I leave off. I give up the hunt. Therefore, I have given up the hunt, since in a net I seek to hold the wind. Now this here is an idiom. This is an idiom, I-D-I-O-M. This is a saying, okay? And I want you to think about trying to hold the wind in a net. Is that something that can be done? It's not. So he says, therefore, I have given up the hunt because catching this deer is an impossible task, period. Who list her hunt? So who, we have who. So whoever list, and list means enlists or wants to, okay? So whoever wants to hunt this deer, I put him out of doubt. I will put you out of doubt. Okay, so I will tell you something plainly, as well as I. So I will put you and myself out of doubt. So here, actually, I will put you out of doubt. I'm going to put in parentheses, and myself, because he says, as well as I, may spend his time in vain. They will hunt for no reason. And the reason that they will hunt for no reason is here in our final sentence, which I'm going to have to just write out for you. I cannot explain this to you because I'm running out of time. But the final sentence is engraved. The reason that you cannot hunt this deer is because engraved in diamonds, put plainly in letters, the deer wears a necklace that says, and it says here, noli me tangere. Now, noli me tangere, when you look it up, means do not touch me. For Caesar's am I. Caesar's means king. Because I belong to the king. And wild for to hold, though I seem tame. So, and am wild, though I seem tame, period. So now we have these sentences. We've paraphrased. We've put these words into our own words. So the poem says, in a paraphrase form, whoever wants to hunt, I know where to find a female deer. But as for me, sadly, I hunt no more. The useless task has made me tired and hurt. Of the hunters, I am the last person who can catch this deer. But I will not let my tired mind forget this deer, because as she runs away, I chase her falling. Therefore, I have given up this hunt, because catching this deer is an impossible task. Whoever wants to hunt this deer, I will put you out of doubt, and myself. I will put myself out of doubt too. that they will hunt for no reason. Because, engraved in diamonds, put plainly in letters, the deer wears a necklace that says, "Do not touch me, because I belong to the king, and am wild, though I seem tame." So you'll notice that the words that we came up with are not nearly as beautifully written as the words that Sir Thomas Wyatt came up with. But now we have a much better understanding of what this poem is actually about. So when we go to analyze what Thomas Wyatt is doing in this poem, we have another layer of meaning to grab onto. See you on the next one.